Hi, guys, and welcome to another podcast. It's Shireen, and I'm here with my podcast, Manifesting My Glow. So, I decided that I wanted to do a podcast episode on how to navigate through triggers in your life whilst you're manifesting or whilst you're on your manifestation journey. So, this one is actually quite important because this is something that I experienced and continue to experience to this day. And I know that people listening to this may experience the same thing or may be on a positive trail of manifestation at the moment, but eventually a trigger may come up. I'm not saying it will, but it may come up. So I thought, you know what, as there was something quite triggering for me probably this past week, um, due to different reasons, I thought let me do a podcast episode on how to manage triggers in the what we call 3D. So when we refer to in the manifestation community, if you're not aware, but when we refer to the 3D, we're talking about the reality that we see with our eyes. But if you know anything about manifestation and you're a bit more into the spiritual side of things, you will know that the 3D is not actually reality. And our realities are based on our assumptions of the world. Our realities are individually based on assumptions that we hold of people. So in life, there can be situations that pop up that might be quite triggering and can actually be the opposite of what you have been trying to manifest or have successfully manifested. Now, this is not necessarily a bad thing. I see it as 3D triggers can be quite testing and they can actually give you a good indication of where your self concept level is at. So, I've always seen these. I see 3D triggers as tests when I'm manifesting because I always feel like I get to one level of manifesting and then a trigger will come up or something will happen that is the complete opposite to my manifestation. And then I get through that. And suddenly, once I've got through that trigger, I actually feel like I've elevated myself to the next level of manifestation in terms of my self concept, in terms of my mindset. So, in a way, you can use 3D triggers to kind of feed back to you where your self concept is at this moment in time. And it will feed back to you whether there's something that you need to work on in order to be able to manifest to that next level, or it will feed back to you that actually you are on the right path and your mindset is actually in the right state, and you as yourself and as a person are in the right state that you will naturally manifest to that next level. So I had a 3D trigger today, and in my old self concept version a few years ago, I would have reacted to that 3D trigger. Now, this was in a relation to something that a person had done to me, or how I assumed, or what I assumed, shall I say, that they were doing to me. And instead of reacting to that 3D trigger, because I'm so into manifestation and I'm aware of how the mind works, I have a better understanding of mindset. I have a better understanding of triggers that can come up in the 3D. I decided that, you know what, in this situation, I am not going to react to that 3D trigger. And instead, I'm going to put to work all of the tips and tricks and lessons and learnings that I have been watching through these past years that have successfully enabled me to get to the stage that I'm at now anyway. So rather than reacting to the person and sending a long paragraph message to this person because I felt triggered, I instead went back to the teachings that I've listened to from other manifestation coaches, and whether that be from YouTube or whether that be through books, podcasts as well. And I've actually decided that in that very moment, why, number one, I had to understand, why is this triggering me? Why? And it's not good to suppress it. I think don't be in denial about that. Make sure that you focus on that and you release that as well. So find out, why is this triggering you? What does this bring up for you? What does it mean for you? And then once you get to it, flip it. flip that story into a positive story. Flip it into something where you can say, well, actually, because I felt like this person had purposely done this to trigger me because I don't really react to them. And I felt like, and I had made an assumption that this person in particular had wanted to get a reaction out of me. So they did something by posting something which I felt that was indirectly connected to me. And instead of sending a message to that person and saying, you know what, why did you put this up? Or being sarcastic, but really that sarcasm is coming from an angry point of view, I ignored that person. And then I went back into my manifestation mind and I did all the teachings of what I've been listening to these past years. And this is critical and this is crucial because a lot of people don't do this. They get triggered in the 3D by things that are showing in their reality that they don't want in their reality. They react to those triggers, and it's almost like all of the podcasts, the videos, the books, the scripting, the journaling, whatever they've been doing has suddenly gone out the window because the emotion connected to that trigger has overtaken them to the point where they can't even get themselves back to that self-concept that they had been working so hard to achieve and to get to, that positive self-concept. So they've gone back into their old version of themselves rather than realizing that actually you're a new version of yourself now. And you need to remind yourself and take back your power and know that, yes, you're this new version of yourself now. And who is that new version of you? And how would this new version of you react to a situation like that? Not the old version. So when 3D triggers come up for you, you have to remind yourself that you're no longer the old version of yourself. The old story, whatever you're telling yourself, those inner conversations don't matter anymore because you're stepping into a new version of yourself, and you need to start acting like that new version of yourself. And like I said previously, it's not to ignore the trigger. We don't want to suppress feelings because it will come up at another stage anyways. We want to deal with those feelings. We want to understand why it triggered you in the first place. But once you get to that level of understanding why did it trigger you, still do not react. Instead, you have to flip the script. And I'm telling you guys, this works. Flip the story, flip the script. Come back to self, remind yourself who you are. Even if if it's causing you anxiety and you have to take some deep breaths and do some deep breathing and get into a space of just silencing your mind, that is fine. But ultimately, you have to remind yourself of who you are now. We're not the old version, which is version number 1. We are version number 2. We are person number 2. And person number 2 doesn't react in any way the same as person 1 used to react, whether that was 2 months ago, 2 weeks ago, 2 years ago. We don't care. So this is really important, guys, because whilst you're listening and you're on your manifestation journey, it's important to actually put into practice the teachings that you are learning, because this is going to help you to navigate through your manifesting journey to the point where it actually becomes easier and you release a lot of resistance by doing this, and you're almost stepping up levels. I see my manifestation journey and my mindset journey as stepping up into different levels. So when I first started manifesting, I was on level 1. Now I can definitely say that my mindset is higher than level 1. But you have to do the work. You have to persist in that new version of who you want to be and who you see yourself being. You have to persist in the new story of whatever it is you are manifesting, regardless of the 3D, regardless of what the 3D is showing you, whether it's showing you opposite results, it doesn't matter. Persist in the new version, persist in the new story. Do your manifestation techniques to get you back into that state. It's okay to feel triggered. That's what I learned today. It is okay to feel triggered because we are human. We are not robots out here. And I'm not trying to make people emotionless, numb, and robots. No, I want people to understand that, yes, you may get triggered by a situation, but the power that you hold within yourself is so powerful that there is no need to react in the ways that you have been so used to reacting in the past. And the whole point of manifestation is that you need to start seeing yourself as version number 2. And if version number 2 of you is someone who's elevated, who has gone to that next level, who doesn't react to pointless things that you know is not going to matter in a few hours anyway, there's no point to it. There's no point reacting to the 3D circumstances that you are not manifesting. React to the 3D circumstances of the things that you are manifesting. Feel joyous, feel elated, feel grateful, show gratitude, feel amazing when you see that your 3D is showing you the manifestations. But if the 3D is showing you things that you are not manifesting, don't react to the 3D in a negative way. Persist in the new version of you, persist in the new story. Remind yourself of who you are. Remind yourself that you hold the power and there's nothing that anyone can do to stop that shine, to stop your growth. Yes, people will try to trigger you. This is what I've told myself. People will try to trigger me. They can try, but it won't work. You can't get the best of me because I'm elevating and glowing up into a new version of myself. And they sense that. People can sense that. People can sense your energy. And sometimes that is why triggers may come up, because people are trying to test you and get you back into a state that you have actually grown from a very long time ago. But it's probably bringing up some triggers because you wasn't expecting it. And that's okay. And what I did in this situation was just took back that power. I didn't react, remained composed. I did do some deep breathing work just to calm myself down. And then I decided that actually, no, that is not me. I don't need to react. There's nothing that needs to be said. My silence probably in this situation is power alone. And then I went and persisted in my new story and started to do affirmations to flip the script into the story that I want it to be. So that's my advice to people. Whenever you feel triggered by the 3D, take some silence, process those feelings, understand why you may be feeling that. Do not react to the 3D. Do not send paragraphs. If it involves another person, don't react in a negative way. If silence is the power, maintain silence. And if you need to communicate with the person, just act like everything is fine. And then go back and persist in the new story and do the manifestation techniques that you have been listening to and watching for these past weeks, days, months, whatever it is. Do the work. Show yourself that you have elevated up to your next level. Show yourself that you are continuing to glow and grow every single day. And your 3D will reflect that back to you so fast that you will even wonder why you was even triggered by that very thing that you felt that the person was trying to do to you. So this was just a quick reminder. And I think doing this podcast as well has also helped me to step back into my power and into my zone, into my great manifestation zone. And I just wanted to put out an episode to motivate you guys and to keep you guys on the right track, or keep you ladies on the right track, to remind you that yes, triggers will come up and it is okay. But it's more about how you're managing and handling those triggers. And as long as you can get yourself back to person number 2 and get into those techniques, do your affirmations, your visualizations, do your scripting, your journaling, whatever works for you, whatever your mind resonates with, and you will step out of that trigger ever so quickly that it won't even mean anything to you. Make that trigger meaningless. That's the whole point. Make the triggers meaningless and then step back into your new version, into person number 2, and continue to grow. Continue to work on your mindset, and you will feel so powerful once you've got through that trigger. So guys, I hope this helped you. It's just a quick podcast again, just to keep you in the manifestation state. Stay tuned for some more podcast episodes because I really want to connect with you guys. And please, please, please head to my Instagram. Link is in the description. Follow me on Instagram. If you are in need of any support, any journals, any ebooks, anything like that, all the information is below. If you're in need of any one-to-one coaching to help you stay consistent in your manifestation journey, I am here for you. Again, all information is in the description box below. Reach out to me, guys. Connect with me, guys. I'm here for you. Let's do this.